What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone for another daily news update. And it's Tuesday. We play in a couple of days. Games are coming fast, like it's going fast. We play once a week, but still, it looks like it's going really fast. Maybe it's just me, but we have some good news from good sources. And funnily enough, I spoke about it yesterday in my video. I said I expect some news, not done deals or whatever, but like some news you can believe basically from good sources. And there is a big update on Phillips. There's a big update on HUIJSEN. And there's some GUDMUNDSSONC news, also some fringe news to fill up the papers, which we're gonna talk about as well, and maybe a little bit about the training session that was held today. Before we do that, as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification, and let's jump straight into the daily news video. Okay, like I said in my previous video, and talked about Phillips, and maybe potentially some people didn't believe the source. I thought it was a decent enough source to suggest some news will come out in the following days. And hold and behold, not even 24 hours, Fabrizio Romano comes out and he speaks about Calvin Phillips. I will read out the news first. He said, "I understand Juve have now open talks with Man City to discuss Calvin Phillips' deal negotiations starting between clubs, as Calvin is said to be open to the move. Juve plan to offer a loan with an option clause. Man City wanted to be a mandatory talks on." That was always the case, that Man City wanted to be an obligation. A loan, fine, but also an obligation to buy. I don't think the club's really jumping onto that. I think they will only considering obligation if the price is extremely good and if it's based on obviously getting Champions League, getting minutes. I think they will do that type of deal potentially, but I don't think they will go for straight out, yes, it's an option plus a buy, an obligation to buy. I don't have a feeling that's going to be the case. I don't have the feeling that's actually going to happen. But the loan deal, like the big news is that for all the news that was happening last week, and I was always suggesting, and maybe the news was based on Juntili holding talks with his agent, and that got blown out of proportion, saying, "Oh, they won or they're in talks and whatever." But now it's kind of confirmed that they are in talks with City. That doesn't mean it's a done deal. It doesn't mean other clubs are not in talks with Man City for Phillips. However, I think this for the first time in weeks, maybe months. That talks are actually taking place, and that we have confirmation that he is open to that move, because lately we've seen he wants to stay at Newcastle, or he wants to go Newcastle because he wants to stay in the Premier League to put himself in the spotlight for Southgate. I don't think Southgate is gonna bring him to the Euros, even if he goes to Newcastle, if I'm being completely honest here. However, it seems like the club is pushing, or is gonna push for the Phillips deal. Not saying it's gonna happen, but it feels like that's the player they want for obvious reasons. Financially, obviously, I think that plays a massive part in it. And then the potentially lineup. What are you gonna do with Phillips? I don't believe he's gonna replace Locatelli, and Locatelli is gonna move up a little bit, and McKennie is gonna be benched, or McKennie is gonna be the right winger, because McKennie should not be the right winger. In a realistic, ideal world, it should be Weah or Cambiasso or whatever, and they should be performing up to a standard moving forward that McKennie cannot offer. It's a lot of big ifs here and there. I don't think Locatelli is going to be moved. I think Locatelli is going to be that DM, and I think he's going to rotate with McKennie. And at that point, like I said, I like Phillips at Leeds, and the last season he did, like, you can throw that away. He didn't really play for a year. That's also a big question mark. I liked him at Leeds. I'm just of the opinion that he's not what we're missing, or to improve now immediately, unless potentially he frees up Locatelli, and Locatelli starts playing like he did against Sassuolo. But also a lot of big ifs, if he's going to replace Locatelli, if Locatelli will be moved and he's going to perform to another level, or like to the level we saw at Sassuolo. I think it's too many question marks for me to sit here and be like, I'm extremely excited, this is going to push us on. I don't know, because knowing Allegri, if he gets Phillips, he's going to rotate him with McKennie, and is it going to be that much of a difference? Is that what we're lacking? I think we lack creativity a lot. Nobody in this midfield can link up play. Nobody can beat this man consistently. Free up some space, play that through ball. Not Rabiot, not Locatelli, especially not McKennie. So I think we're missing that type of player. That's my only big concern and question mark on this deal. However, it seems like he is the number one target. So let's see how damn it. Let's see how that will develop, because it's still early in talks. Not really early considering the transfer market, but let's see in the following days. Then Romeo spoke about HUIJSEN. I think we all have a feeling that he's going to leave, and I think this is confirmation. He said there's a significant increase in the likelihood that HUIJSEN will leave Juve on loan in January to find more playing time. Contacts are ongoing even in the last few hours with Frosinone, and several foreign clubs are interested. Now, I'm okay with it because he's not going to play. That's very obvious. I don't think it's good for him to just train and then do not play football for 2-3 weeks and then get sold. You know what? Out of nowhere, go play with under 23s. He's not going to improve like that. He's done it, and if you don't play consistently, it's not going to happen. So I'm all for it, especially because he's not going to play. I like the idea of Frosinone because I don't think they're really stacked in that department. And if he does well, I think he will have a starting position extremely soon, very soon. And it's going to be a very good learning curve because he can make mistakes there. He can have good games. I think Frosinone will probably, stay in the league. I think they have enough quality to manage to do that. So I think it will be a very good learning experience. Foreign club, probably Granada, but I think they're fighting relegation. I'm not sure if that's going to be a good solution for him. I think I'd rather have him playing in Italy, because the idea is that he's going to play for us starting next season, potentially. And I think it's better just to get used to the league and whatsoever. So I like the Frosinone idea. I think it's a good one. I think he has a very big chance of beating competition, because I don't think that's very good at Frosinone in that department, and get a starting job like Barenchea has done now, and Sule obviously, and potentially Kayo now as well. So that's going to be very interesting to see. It's going to happen. Like, he's going to leave on loan. Like, I think potentially, pretty sure Illich Jr. is going to be sold. So something to keep an eye on, but I think that's kind of set and dust that he's gonna be loaned out in January. And to wrap it up, we have a GUDMUNDSSON thing from Daniele Longo. I will read it out first. He said, in recent days, GUDMUNDSSON's agent have had direct contact with Roma to plan the transfer starting from the next season. The interest from the Giallorossi is concrete, but the deal depends on several factors, primarily the potential qualification for the Champions League. Secondly, there will be competition from several Premier League clubs, as well as Napoli and Juve. Genoa will only negotiate the sale starting from a base price of 20 million. If it's Roma getting into the Champions League, they can forget about that. That's one. If Premier League teams are in, I think that's also kind of tough to do. Do I think we've been looking at him? Yes. Do I think it's serious? No. He's having a very good season. I think he had 8 goals and 1 assist. He can play across the board. I think from what I've seen at Azad, and I've seen a few at Azad, I think he was more of a right winger, but he can play left. He can play striker if needed. He can play second striker, attacking midfield a little bit as well. He can play a lot of positions. He's not a player that I'm like, oh yeah, you need to get 100%. I don't have that fight with him. He's having a good season. I think it's just one of those links. I do think we're following him, because why wouldn't you? Being Juve, he's doing well. The price is pretty okay. I just don't think. I think like the news is saying, that's a signing I see Roma do potentially. I see a Sheffield or a Brentford do. I really do. I just don't have a feeling we are gonna be all over that, and we are going to try to make that deal happen. But he's having a good season, and he was good against us as well, in my opinion. So maybe potentially to keep an eye on. But as of now, I think it's just more of a far-fetched rumor rather than something real for us. But that's it. That's the daily news update for today. Big news, Phillips. Let's see how that will develop in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about that as well. Like the video, subscribe, and I will see you guys back later tonight. Ciao.